Well, hello there, you beautiful, beautiful, amazing, wonderful people. I hope you're all well on this wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. The sun is shining, you can hear the birds singing in the sky, and it's the midweek hump, and we all have a midweek hump. Let's get straight into the meat and potatoes, as man, have we got a lot of stuff to go through. There was a huge update to the Idaho Judicial Court cases page, and there's been a lot in the Idaho 4 case drop. Now, tonight I've changed the live that I was going to do tomorrow. I think I was going to do it tomorrow or today. I can't remember. There's a live tonight, and we'll be going over the docs. The likelihood is I'll do a part of them tonight and then part of them tomorrow. So if you want to join us, make sure to subscribe to the channel, smash that notification bell and like and all that good stuff to make sure that you can join us. We're going to have a jazz radio session while we go through these documents. If you're not into jazz, maybe we'll get you into jazz. But in this video, we're talking about the Amazon situation, because what I'm also going to do, in addition to going over the docs and the longer lives, for those of you who don't like lives, you haven't got time to sit through them, or you don't like navigating them, I'll be splitting it all down into bite-sized chunks. And man, are some of those going to be quite interesting, as we learn that Dylan Mortensen, there's a potential that she wasn't staring at Bryan Kohberger or even a perpetrator on the night that this happened. She was actually staring at her own artwork. Yeah, I'm not even joking. But this is what I want to talk about today, because there's some important things, and I'm thinking about the things that are really affecting the mentality of some of the people around this case that are thinking that Bryan Kohberger did this crime, and there's absolutely no way whatsoever that somebody else could have been involved. We know there's been a huge update in the autism spectrum disorder, ASD, which I'm going to go through that potentially later. There'll be multiple videos, so again, just be aware that notifications are sometimes sketchy, sketchier than Dylan Mortensen's account of what happened that night. So just keep coming back and having a look. So I think 3 videos today plus a live, and we'll be talking about multiple things. But anyway, let's get straight into the meat and potatoes, as I'm conscious that we're getting through the video and we ain't really covered anything. So let's get straight into this. So this is a motion in limine. This is the number 9 doc. I'm not going to do them in any order. I'm just going to go through them all. So excluding Amazon click activity evidence at trial. Why is this important? It's important because there are so many people who are still out there who think that there's proof, evidence, and it's a fact that Bryan Kohberger purchased and was found to have purchased a knife sheath and or knife from Amazon. And this is going to show you not only that has not been proven to be the case, but also how the prosecution can very likely manipulate evidence in order to get the result they want. And it's clever. It's clever how they do it. At the end of the day, this is about selling a story, and whoever sells the most convincing story on the day, or should I say, if the prosecution sells a real good story and the defense can't rebut it, then you've got an issue. And this is going to take you on the journey of a potential story surrounding the Amazon. So it says, come now, Bryan C. Kohberger, Bryan through his attorney of record and pursuant to the Idaho rules of evidence, moves this honorable court for an order in limine excluding any Amazon evidence, purchase history, and Amazon click activity. Evidence by Mr. Kohberger. More specifically, the defense asserts that with the limited disclosures made by the state, lack of raw data, lack of complete data, lack of disclosure of expert opinion, lack of explanation of Amazon click activity, which you're going to learn heavily about, and if you're into your Amazon shopping, you'll perhaps, some of this will really ring true with you about what they're doing and how that can indeed be manipulated, or any analysis related thereto, amounts to cherry-picked limited data that does not show the full picture. And this is very important compared to warrants that requested extensive data. So they're basically saying you ask for extensive data, you ask for a load of stuff, you get handed some stuff, but then you decide which bits you want to show. It's very, very similar to the white Hyundai Elantra. You know, they have loads of information about the traveling of a car. And this is where Ray, he comes in and says, right, with the evidence that you've got, there's a lot of it missing. Now, if you had all of that data, that might actually be exculpatory, because it could show that the car was away from what you're trying to say with that limited data. You're saying that he took this route, but if you added the time data analysis to it and the car was over here, then it makes that wrong. Do you see what I mean? And it's very similar with the Amazon click data, and you're going to learn how in a second. The state's refining of all the Amazon history and Amazon click activity is out of context, incomplete, and unfairly prejudicial, thus making it inadmissible. Incomplete, irrelevant, and unfairly prejudicial evidence is barred, and then it tells you where it's barred. This motion should be read in conjunction with the motion in limine number 2, excluding expert Shane Cox and all other experts the state intends to use regarding all Amazon evidence. So the introduction. So it just says the state disclosed Shane Cox as an expert who will testify about Bryan Kohberger's Amazon account. Activity on that account to include logins and Amazon click activity. The state wants to use very specific, narrow dates. The state has not defined Amazon click activity in any reports or expert disclosures, nor provided any opinions or analysis related to the limited data it has produced. So what they're basically saying, you're only going to get one side of the argument, but that's kind of the point, isn't it? The prosecution isn't going to make points that bolster the defense's rebut. The rebuttal of it. The data produced is extremely narrow when compared to the more inclusive and broad warrants and subpoenas. Even in the face of the court telling the state that its job was not done with its expert disclosures, nothing was produced in the state's rebuttal expert disclosure to further clarify the underlying data, analysis, and opinions it intends to offer regarding anything Amazon related. And again, we've seen how this has been affecting the public. You hear Amazon, you see, and this is what I talk about, the gag order being weaponized, okay? Because what you'll have a document come up that says an Amazon search, and then they will strategically insert an ASIN number, the product code for a K-bar knife sheath. Now, a load of people misconstrued that as, oh my God, he bought a knife sheath from Amazon, and that's proof. And they've ran off with that and considered that fact. And that's what Ann Taylor is trying to address here. That if you take things out of context and you manipulate and you cherry pick what information you want to give, look at the information that it can. Look at how that can affect people. People don't understand it, and we take for granted how little people do understand. And they hear something, they see something, they put 2 and 2 together and come up with 5. And we're going to learn as we move through this the importance of all of the data. If you're going to give all of the data or explain it. Mr. Kohberger faces this capital trial with no more than the state disclosing an expert testifying about dates related to Mr. Kohberger's Amazon account and the production of records and expertise regarding Amazon click activity. Because Mr. Kohberger is placed in a position of guessing what the state's intentions are, he has consulted an expert, David Howell, to attempt preparation. Mr. Kohberger has learned the limited disclosure leaves him unprepared to confront this evidence. In this ever-evolving age of technology, Amazon uses artificial intelligence to improve the customer experience by helping customers find products that match their interests and preferences. And there's a link that tells you how that's done. It's done everywhere, absolutely everywhere. You've probably seen it yourself, not just in Amazon, but even on this platform alone. When you see an ad, the ad isn't related to me, it's related to you. It's related to what it thinks you're interested interested in. Like I heard someone say yesterday that before my video, quite funny, the live, there was an ad about the University of Idaho and attending the University of Idaho. So that tells me that the person who was watching that ad is someone who had been interested in the University of Idaho. And they would have been because they've been watching this case. And a lot of their click activity on this platform would have likely been around the University of Idaho, Moscow, Idaho, and the like. That doesn't understand that you're interested from an ad, because there's going to be no ads about murders. Well, do you know what I mean? So it interpreted that this person is interested in the University of Idaho and therefore shows them an ad. And it's very similar to how Amazon works. It works out what you're interested in. As you do more searches, it learns, and then it can caveat and spur off of that and offer you more and more and more things. So, like, let me come back. We don't need to go through that whole doc. I'll do that in the live. I just want to make a point and sort of ram it home why it's important. So with respect of how they're likely to manipulate the Amazon information here, is just say Bryan Kohberger jumps on the internet. He jumps on Amazon and he starts looking at hiking shoes. So he looks at hiking shoes and he's going through all the hiking shoes, and he's a hiker. Now, you also pair that now with the potential of being, well, they're stating that he's ASD, so he's on the spectrum. So that could impact this even more, because they can go off and get fixated and spend a load of time looking at things. Now, I'm not saying that nobody else can, and it's just, but that could be heightened. But my point being, so he goes on there, he's looking for something. As Amazon learns more and more about what this person is looking at, it learns, he's into hiking. So let's start showing him other stuff. And he could indeed click off and click onto something else to do with hiking. And along this trail, that could take him to hunting knives, for instance. So he goes off and starts looking at hunting knives. Now, the prosecution doesn't show you that entire journey. It doesn't say Bryan Kohberger logged on, he was looking at hiking stuff, and Amazon jumped in and intervened and was like, oh, you might like this, you might like that, you might like this. It doesn't tell you that. They could just jump in and say, right, Bryan Kohberger on this day, he was searching up knives. Can you see the difference? When taken out of context, you can feel that Bryan Kohberger logged into Amazon and started looking at knives, when in reality, Bryan Kohberger jumped on Amazon and started looking at hiking boots because he's a hiker. He likes to go out and he likes to walk. But because of getting involved in the shopping and looking and Amazon learning exactly what he could be likely interested in that could go hand in hand with that, it leads him on down this rabbit hole of other products. And lo and behold, one of them products happens to be something that the prosecution can latch onto and then package that in a way that looks like that's what he was doing. And that people will believe it. We've seen it. We've seen it firsthand in the documents here. You see an ASIN number. You see a search warrant for Amazon. You see that the ASIN number is related to a K-bar knife sheath, and a load of people take that as, oh, they found out that he got the knife off Amazon. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. And even if you're an anti-burger, you want to see, Bryan Kohberger found guilty, you must admit that you can see how this information can be manipulated to their advantage and could dangerously sway a jury to feel a certain way. And it is simply down to a lack of context. Love you all. Keep your eyes peeled. Loads more coming. We've got loads more coming. Bushy eyebrows. Was it Brian? Was it anyone? Was it a picture? Mwah.